Hello, and welcome to the PHFA Certificate in Elder Service Coordination Program. Today's topic is low-tech solutions for older adults. These webinars, in conjunction with specified sessions at the PHFA Housing Services Conference, will enable you to be eligible to receive the Certificate in Elder Service Coordination, which will be issued in partnership with PHFA and the California University of Pennsylvania Rural Communities Institute. And our presenter this morning is Jamie Prioli. Jamie is an assistive technology specialist and program coordinator for the Reuse and Exchange Equipment Partnership, otherwise known as REAP, and is responsible for information, technical assistance, device demonstrations, and funding assistance related to assistive technology. She also specializes in emergency management, AT, and people with functional needs. For over 20 years, she has worked with individuals with disabilities of all ages in home, school, work, and community settings. Ms. Prioli received her bachelor's degree from Westchester University and holds an Assistive Technology Professional Certificate from RESNA. She currently serves as a member of the Rehabilitation Engineering and Assistive Technology Society Board of Directors. Thank you, Jamie, for agreeing to do our presentation. It is always a pleasure.
Thank you so much for the invitation, and I'm really excited to speak today on today's topic. And as you mentioned, I am with Pennsylvania's Initiative on Assistive Technology, otherwise known as PIATS. We have a lot of acronyms within our organization. We are a program of the Institute on Disabilities here at Temple University, and our services actually spread across the entire Commonwealth. One line that we often refer to is noted on the first slide that you have on your screen right now, which states that for people without disabilities, technology makes things easier. For people with disabilities, technology makes things possible. And yes, I am the geek in the room, and I do enjoy sharing this information with everyone about how technology can help someone through their everyday activities, their daily lives, help them to overcome barriers. So here we go, looking ahead into our presentation, and I will be talking about those technology solutions and the strategies that can help support elders. My contact information is on the first slide. And our street address, although we are located right on the Temple University main campus here in Philadelphia, as I mentioned, we do serve the entire Commonwealth. And I'll start the presentation by talking a little bit about the services for those of you who may not be as familiar with the services we provide. So what is Pennsylvania's Initiative on Assistive Technology? We are almost your one-stop resource within the Commonwealth. Every single state has what's called an Assistive Technology Act program. It's a federally designated program that helps disseminate information about assistive technology and how it can help individuals who have various abilities. We serve individuals of all ages, and we often refer to it from birth to earth. So the information about the assistive technology may help someone at school, in the workforce, at home, as well as in the community. And as I mentioned, every single state has one program that is designated as an Assistive Technology Act program. Some of our services may vary slightly, but overall, we provide basically the same services. The first service that we provide free of charge is called a device demonstration. And that device demonstration is basically an opportunity to have a hands-on experience of what technology or what gadget can help somebody overcome a barrier. So, for example, we may have an individual who contacts us and says, I really would like to continue reading the newspaper, reading books, but my vision is really decreasing and I'm having a much more difficult time reading independently. what type of technology is available? What can help me with reading? So we would have somebody meet with us, and we would show them a demonstration of what gadget or what assistive technology device can best help them in the environment where they are. Again, whether that's at school, at work, at home, or in the community. We are the neutral resource, so we do not specifically say that this would be the best brand device or this is the best manufacturer. We want people to make an educated decision for themselves. So we will show them an overview of what devices are available that can help them overcome that barrier. The next program that we oversee is a device loan program, and that's called Pennsylvania's Assistive Technology Lending Library Program. It's not a financial loan program. It is a device loan, which means that an individual can actually try a device in their environment and see if it really does work. Again, that environment can be the school, work, home, or in the community. So the device can be borrowed for anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, depending on the complexity of that device. And we have adapted telephones, amplified telephones, portable hearing devices, not hearing aids, but we have portable amplification devices, adapted keyboards, video magnifiers, portable magnifiers, all sorts of devices that people can borrow. And if they are in our region, sometimes we ask an individual to please come and pick it up from our on-site location. But many times we will actually ship the device out to a person's home, and then UPS will come and pick it back up at the end of the loan period. So all of this is free of charge. It's a great opportunity to try a device before someone actually goes out and purchases it, because we don't want anyone really spending money, because some of this technology may be a little expensive, and we don't want someone wasting their money or having the device really sit in a closet and accumulate dust. Another program that we oversee is called the Reused and Exchanged Equipment Partnership, or REAP. And that program is where we have gently used devices and try to find new homes for them. So an example of an activity that would happen through the REAP program is we receive a phone call from an individual who says, I have an extra wheelchair that's sitting in my closet. I don't know what to do with it. I just don't want to put it in the garbage. It's in great condition, but I'm not using it anymore. I have a new one. They can contact us, and we can assist them with placing a free advertisement on our online classified ad system. Or we may even know someone in the vicinity of that owner who may be able to, who may be able to come and pick it up and use it to their best interest. That's one way of using our REAP program. Another is that someone may not have the funding, whether it's lack of insurance, no insurance, or their insurance doesn't cover a backup device, like an extra shower chair. Perhaps an elderly person would like to go stay for a week at their child's home in Pennsylvania, and they don't want to bring their shower chair, their commode chair, their walker. They'd like to basically have a secondary device at their child's house. So they could contact us, and we would try to put them in contact with networking agencies or with our own inventory. And again, that could be, the devices would be either free, depending on the location, or at a reduced cost. And all of these programs you can actually find on our website. Our main website is disabilities.temple.edu. And if you look towards the top of the web page, there is a button that you can click on for technology, and you'll find a full list of all of our programs. We do a lot of public awareness activities, and those public activities could be where we come out to support groups and talk about what technology solutions may be available. We also go out to expos and conferences. So those are some of the events that we can help participate in throughout the entire Commonwealth. Although we are housed in Philadelphia, it can be a little overwhelming for us to travel, maybe out to Erie. So what we do is we have what's called Assistive Technology Resource Centers, or ATRCs, that we subcontract with, and they provide the exact services that we do. So if I'm unable to travel out to Erie or Altoona, I would contact one of our regional ATRCs and have them step up and help in your situation. So that's how we serve the entire Commonwealth. Another program that we oversee is called the Telecommunication Device Distribution Program, or TDDP. Now, I did give you a heads up. We do have a lot of acronyms in our program. So the TDDP program may be a program that would be of great interest to many of the consumers that you are serving. What this program does is it helps put adapted telephones into the hands of those who qualify, those individuals who may have a barrier to standard telecommunication services. So if you are working with an individual who has a hearing loss, and no matter how loud the other party is yelling on the telephone, they still can't hear, there could be an adapted telephone that would help the senior with really breaking down the walls of communication. We have not only adapted phones that are for those who are deaf or hard of hearing, but there are phones for individuals who may have a hearing loss, as well as individuals who may have some type of cognitive impairment, perhaps Alzheimer's or dementia. There are photo phones that they may qualify for, a free phone, as well as telephones that are adapted to help someone who may have some physical barriers. So they may not be able to hold a receiver, or they may not be able to physically pick up the phone or get to it in time. Again, this is a program that people need to apply for, and if they qualify, they would receive a free adapted telephone. And this is funded through the PUC. So if you look on your landline telephone bill, there is, I believe it's a small surcharge, 7-cent surcharge, something like that, that actually comes out from your bill, and that 7 cents goes towards this TDDP program. So if you have a consumer who is interested in seeing if they qualify for this free program, you can call us at 1-800-204-7428 and ask for an application for the TDDP program. We do encourage anyone who goes through this TDDP program to actually request a free device demonstration of the various phones that would be available to them. The reason being is that there are so many different options that are available for someone who has that barrier to telecommunications that we want to ensure that they are requesting for the most appropriate phone that would help them. If they apply for a phone and do not receive a device demonstration and it's not the right phone that they request, they have to actually wait for an additional 3 years before they can request a replacement phone. So we do encourage you to take up the opportunity and request a free device demonstration on what phones could be available through the TDDP program. The next thing that we offer is a lot of information and assistance. So we have a toll-free information and assistance line that is constantly being used, and anyone can call, family members, caregivers, individuals with disabilities, and just say, I'm having a problem with accomplishing this task. Is there anything that can help me? And what we'll do is we will put you in touch with the appropriate office, whether that be for Philadelphia residents, that would be obviously in Philadelphia, but for Erie, it would be one of our AT resource centers. I'm picking on Erie today because I had a lot of phone calls with them this week. But we would put them in touch with the appropriate staff that can answer their questions. And then finally, we do assistive technology training and assistance. And that's what we're doing today, is we can always be called upon to provide free webinars, beginner webinars. We also do advanced trainings, and those are at a fee. We do request a small, nominal fee to help cover some expenses for staff trainings and things like that. So that's an overview of the services that are provided by Pennsylvania's initiative on assistive technology. Just as a reminder, we do serve people of all abilities, and as I mentioned earlier, all ages. So whether someone has just normal aging, different abilities, vision loss, sensory loss, hearing loss, mobility issues, cognitive, communication, we will help anybody throughout the Commonwealth. So let's move on into what is that phrase that I keep on using, that phrase called assistive technology, because it can be quite intimidating, and I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So as I mentioned, the Assistive Technology Act is a federally designated program, and there is an actual legal definition for assistive technology device, as well as assistive technology services. Why is that important? Many times, if certain devices can follow the definition of assistive technology, it may be covered by some type of funding source. So insurance may cover assistive technology, and this is all on a case-by-case situation, but there are other organizations besides insurance. There may be nonprofit organizations that offer grant or mini loan programs, and as long as it follows the definition of assistive technology, it may be funded. So it is important to be on the same page. Assistive technology, defined, is any item, piece of equipment, or product system, whether that's acquired commercially, modified, or customized, that is used to increase, maintain, or improve the functional capabilities of individuals with disabilities. So assistive technology can be something that comes out of a special catalog, a special website, or it could be something that could be found in the dollar store because it could be acquired commercially. It could be something that is right off the shelf, or it could be customized to meet the needs of that individual. There is something, though, that when we're talking about assistive technology and those gadgets, when we're discussing these options with, especially with elders, there may be some type of adjustment to needing these new tools. And this consideration is something that I'm bumping into more and more. We need to understand that as we age, that there's a new way of doing something, and when you're talking about changing a habit that you may have been doing, say, for 70, 80, 90 years, changing the way that you do something may not be readily accepted. So here's an example. When I was recently working with an older woman, she expressed to me that she's having difficulty reading her books, and she just loves to read her books. She likes the hold of the book. She likes turning the pages, the whole sound, the whole experience of reading a book. But it was becoming more and more troublesome because of her declining vision. So we explained that there were several devices that were out there that could help her overcome the barrier. And one of the things that we frequently refer to are the audio books, because many books are available on a cassette or in electronic format where you can have someone actually read it back to you. And we find that even though we may recommend this type of solution, it's not something that is eagerly approached because this poor woman who came into us said, I've been reading my entire life and I don't need somebody to read to me. So just keep in mind that although we may have a solution that can help that person, they may not be as eager to make the change because it is something that is a little bit, it's something a little bit different. However, when we are looking at these devices, we do want to emphasize that the devices can make living easier, safer, and more convenient.
Jamie, I wanted to ask, and I know that I have run into you at some of the properties, if there's a service coordinator or a property manager that their residents might have interest in learning about these things, is that a possibility?
It's definitely something that's a possibility. If there is a property manager who has access, or someone who has access to like a conference room, or we've even done group demonstrations in the kitchen. So what we can do is try to make arrangements. We'll find the most appropriate assistive technology resource center, the one that's closest and serves in that region, and we may do a demonstration day on adapted telephones. Or there may be, someone may say, I'm looking for devices that can help with those who have low vision or who have hearing loss. So those are definitely options.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. So there are some different categories, different levels of assistive technology devices, and we put them into three main categories. The first category is low-tech solutions, and those are typically very inexpensive. They're very easy to learn, readily available, and they can be found off the shelf. I often refer to them as my dollar store solutions. They're very easy to make, maintain, and replace. So if something breaks, it's really inexpensive to replace it. I don't have to worry about spending an arm and a leg. The next category is mid-tech, and the mid-tech solutions may cost a little bit more. They may require a little bit of training, and they have typically a special design. These are the devices that you may find out of a specialty catalog. They may also need a power source or some other type of support, like additional training and additional customization. The final category that we have for assistive technology devices is our high-tech category, and those are generally the higher cost devices, and they need very specific training to learn, and they may require some more ongoing support, often very customized. So the specific training may be extended to family members or caregivers who are also providing support services for that individual. When we talk about ongoing support, that ongoing support is typically where someone's needs change on a regular basis. So if someone is losing their vision, it may be they may be able to see, for example, font at a size 18, but 5 months from now they may not be able to see that font at all. So we would need to look at some other solutions. How can we support that person with using the appropriate technology? That's just an example. And then we have our technology pyramid, which is what I often refer to when I go out to meet with an individual and try to find some solutions that can help them. So we have, if you know, on the bottom of the pyramid are low-tech devices. And those low-tech devices, most of the time, can accomplish the task that is necessary. So it doesn't mean that all of the solutions that we're referring to are always high or they're always expensive. Most of the solutions we find are in that low-tech category. They're the most frequently used. In the middle is the mid-tech, and as we try and demonstrate various devices, we are going to look at the high-tech devices, but most of the time that's going to be almost like the last stop. We want to look at the low and the mid before we consider any high-tech solutions, because we are talking about an additional expense, we are talking about possibly a large expense, and a lot of training and support. So we want to make sure that someone is really going to be using this technology when we get to that upper high-tech section. The scope of assistive technology really does spread so far and wide. There are devices that can help with communication, not just telecommunication, but communicating verbally. So for someone who may have had a stroke and can no longer communicate verbally as they have in the past, we would look at some technology solutions that may help them with just communicating their everyday wants and needs, as well as communicating with their family members and friends. There's technology that can fit into the area of seating and positioning, mostly wheeled mobility, power mobility, mobility aids like walkers, canes. There's also assistive listening devices, where they can, not just hearing aids, but devices that can help with amplifying surrounding sound in a church or a temple. Vehicle modifications, there's assistive technology for leisure, recreation, and play. It's not all about being just in a wheelchair. We want to find some fun and have some leisure and recreation activities. For those seniors who are still working, there are some solutions for work site modifications. We also look at home modifications. What technology can help someone access their home environment? Does it mean that we are looking at widening doorways? Are we looking at modified handrails? Are we looking at some seating, things like that? Learning aids. Environmental controls actually refers to how we can access our environment. So how can I turn on the light when I can't physically get up to hit the light switch? Can I use a remote control to turn on the light or to turn on a fan independently? That's what we're referring to when we're talking about environmental controls. There's also assistive technology to help with vision aids, as well as a lot of technology to help with self-care and activities of daily living. For example, cooking in the kitchen. There's a lot of assistive technology that can help with bathing and things like that. So the scope, as you can see, the scope of assistive technology really does spread far and wide. When we're looking at assistive technology being used, we want to not only think about how it can be helpful for that person, but be a little bit more defined. We know that if a person is willing and able to use assistive technology, it can be used to reduce staff time. So an example of reducing staff time might be that a person can independently take their medication at the appropriate times, because there are medication reminders. Sometimes a staff person has to go in and administer the medication, but a device may also be very appropriate for a particular individual. Assistive technology can help increase independence, overcome barriers, and increase personal safety. Just a couple examples of how it can be used in the home. So, I gave you more of the technical background on assistive technology, but now I want to really make this a little bit more engaging. And I don't think we have the opportunity for people really to chime in, but what I'd like you to do is think in your mind as we go through some of these slides. This is a game. I'm going to ask you, what is this? How is it assistive technology, and how can it help an older adult do something? And I refer to this game as doohickeys, thingamabobs, and whatchamacallits. But I do need to preface this game. There are some photographs that may include some graphic imagery, so if you have a queasy stomach, you may not want to look much further in this slideshow. So I'll give you just a second to maybe turn away. If you don't have a queasy stomach, keep on looking. Yes, I am that crazy cat lady. So in this game, I will refer some of the answers to my cats. Yes, I do dress them up during the holidays. So these are my 4 furry children. And that was the extent of your graphic imagery. So what is this? There's an image on the right-hand side, something blue. It looks like it may have some straps or something like that. Is this a cat toy? I told you it was going to get graphic. I'll refer to my cats. Is it a sock dressing aid? Is it a gardening tool? Maybe it could be a gardening tool. Or, more likely, I have no idea. I hope you have all of your answers in your mind. It is a sock dressing aid. What this will allow someone to do is to put their socks on independently. The way that this sock dressing aid works is the blue portion that you saw, you actually take your sock and put it over the dressing aid, the plastic section. And then there are 2 straps that you hold on to. Slip your foot into the dressing tool, and then you can actually pull your sock up by pulling on those straps. So someone can independently put on their own socks. It does take a little practice, I have to be very honest. My husband does use one of these sock dressing aids, and at first it was not very easy for him to use. However, he does use it now on a regular basis when I'm not around to help him put on his socks. So for $12, there's a device that can help out with putting on one's socks in an independent manner. What's this? We have the next device, which on the right-hand side, the image, see, it looks like there's a handle at the very top of it. There might be some type of straight stick in the middle, and at the bottom there's like a loop or something like that. So is it A, a reacher, B, a grabber, C, a lifter, or D, a cat leash? And the answer is, it's a leg lifter. So this is another device that I have had many of my clients utilize. When they're trying to get in and out of bed, they may not be able to pull that leg from the ground, pull it up onto their bed, even though they may not have the highest of beds. Just by putting your foot into the bottom loop, you can actually lift your leg up and pull it onto the bed. And this is something that, many people have a difficult time getting in and out of bed. So they can lift their leg into bed and also lift their leg out of bed to get their feet grounded. So for under $10, this is another great device just to help with a little bit of independence. Someone may not have to call a caregiver to help them swing their legs around off the bed. The next one, what is this? Is it a ball with a screw and hole? Is it a child's toy? Is it not something to use as a cat toy? Or is it a writing aid? And the image is a little fuzzy, but it's something round. It looks like it has a key on it maybe, perhaps some type of hole. The answer is, it's a device called an Arthwriter. What this device does is it actually allows someone who has a difficult time with holding smaller devices, like a spoon or like a pencil, and it gives it a built-up grip. So there's an image on the left-hand side where we use the pencil inside of this Arthwriter, and it tightens up around, the ball tightens up around the pencil to give you a bigger grip. You can also use it around the handle of a spoon. And there's an image of a tennis ball. Why would I put a picture of a tennis ball on there, you might ask? Well, that ball is the same shape as the Arthwriter. This ball can be found pretty much anywhere, and you can do this low-tech solution that is very similar to the Arthwriter. If you take a tennis ball and using a knife, very carefully cut a small X into any area of it, and you can take your pencil, thing that you want an X on opposite ends, and put a pencil through the two X's in that ball. You'd put the spoon handle through there, so you can do the same exact thing with an Arthwriter and a tennis ball. One is just more homemade. And as you know, you may know, at the bottom of each page, I tried to put the approximate price of the device. Now that $10 obviously is for the Arthwriter, not for the single tennis ball. But I also try to put the link towards where you can find devices like these. So what are these? I have two images on the screen now. They look like they may have cups, but they're missing a section out of it. And one is almost like a circle, but there's another section missing out of it. So is it A, tools that help my cat eat? Or B, a collar for my cat? Or C, tools that help me eat? And the answer is tools that help me eat. It's a Nosey cup and a plate guard. So if you look at the image on the left-hand side, you'll see a woman drinking out of what's called a Nosey cup. They're adapted cups, and for someone who may not be able to tip their head backwards, perhaps they have more arthritis in their neck, or they had some other type of neck injury, there's a cut-out section that their nose can go into, and they don't need to worry about tipping their head back and bumping their nose. So the cutout section is why we call it a Nosey cup, is because you can actually tip this cup, and the liquid, you can drink the liquid, and you won't be bumping the edge of the cup onto your nose. The plate guard is a wonderful tool for someone who may have had who may have had perhaps a stroke or has only use of one side of their arm. It's really difficult sometimes after someone has a stroke when they want to independently eat, because frequently when they're eating using a fork or a spoon, the food can move around and move off of the plate. So with the plate guard, it stretches over an existing plate, and it serves as a ledge, for lack of a better word, so that when you push against this plate guard, the food won't go off of the plate. It just gives you something else to more support while you're eating. And these are both under $20, and the average is about $15. So what is this? We have some pictures, some colored squares, rectangles, and circles. We have blue, red, yellow, looks like a greenish or a gray. Is it a mat? Something called dicem? Maybe it's paper? Or is it a cat hair picker-upper? It's something called dicem. That's the brand name, dicem. It's sticky, tactile. Also, it's very similar to the rubber shelf liner. What this allows somebody to do is it actually gives them a non-skid surface. If you look at the image in the very center of the screen, we have a woman who is putting together a puzzle on an incline, on a slanted surface. The puzzle pieces are not falling off of the tray, so that's great. The dicem is actually allowing them to work on a slant without anything falling off. The tray, the image on the right shows someone carrying some pastries and a drink, and the tray is slanted slightly, and it's showing that none of the food, the plate, or the drink is not sliding off of the tray. So it's slightly sticky. It can be put through the wash, not through the dryer, but these things tend to get a little dirty, so they can be washed off in a dishwasher or just rinsed off with a hose. People can also use these because sometimes when we're sitting in chairs as we get older, we tend to slide out of those chairs because we may not have proper footing. So you can actually sit on this stuff, and someone can sit comfortably in a chair and not worry about having to really prop themselves so they don't fall out of the chair. Now, dicem runs about $25 and up, depending on the size of it. You can also go to your favorite discount store, your dollar store, and purchase it anywhere from $1 to $5. And the image on the bottom left-hand side is that shelf liner. And we've all seen it. We can put it in our silverware drawer, whatever. It serves the same purpose. It may not last as long as dicem, and I wouldn't recommend putting it into the wash. So the next low-tech solution. These are all low-tech solutions. What are these? Are they pipe insulation and washcloths and pipe insulation, or stuff my cat chews with when they're home alone? It's pipe insulation and washcloths, and these make great grip buildups on any devices that are used daily. A mop, a broom, someone who may have a difficult time holding that handle, they can utilize the insulation, and it gives them a softer grip so they can hold that handle a little bit better. You can do the same thing with washcloths. Take a rubber band, take the washcloth, put it around the handle, put the rubber band on top, and you've got a built-up handle. So you can purchase them at a home supply or any type of discount store. I don't know how many people really remember what these are. Are they hair curlers, foam curlers, or more stuff my cat chews? Obviously, they're foam hair curlers. I guess sometimes my cat may find these around. But these also serve as great grip buildups. Take out the little plastic insert to it, and you can put them around a toothbrush, utensils, pencils. Very inexpensive solution for building up the handle when someone has a difficult time on the smaller grip. What's this? The image on the right is showing us, is it a cat food scoop? Is it a cat pooper scooper? A people food scooper? Or is it a milk carton holder? Correct answer, it's a milk or juice carton holder. And this can be used, they have various shapes for the quart size, pint size. These are great tools under $10 to help someone. It gives them a handle where they can put all of those cartons in, and it gives them an easier time with pouring any of the liquids that they may have around their home. What's this on the screen? It's some type of ring. It's actually a shower curtain ring. These make wonderful tools. Again, dollar store supplies. You can put them you can use them as a zipper pull. A lot of times I have trouble getting the zipper up and down on my jacket. So if I put one of these curtain rings onto the zipper, I can pull that zipper tag up and down with ease. Gives you a little bit more leverage. Now this is a different type of device. What is this? Is it some sort of contraption? Obviously. Something I trip on when it's left on the floor? Is it a seat lifter? Or something that scares my cat? This is called an Uplift Seat Assist, and it goes anywhere from $100 and $150. This particular device, what is used for is to help someone move from a seated position to a standing position. Now, you may be very, very familiar with those, with the lift chairs or the Jerry chairs, where the entire chair will lift somebody up. And those are wonderful tools. Those are wonderful assistive devices. However, that Jerry chair, that lift chair, is very difficult to move around when you want to go out to a restaurant or when you want to go out to a loved one's home, perhaps for the holidays. It's really difficult to get them into a small car. So by carrying the more portable solution, you can take this Uplift Seat Assist into the community, into the workplace, into the home, into anyone's home, and be able to independently get up and out of chairs. So it's a wonderful tool. They do have different. The reason for the price difference is there are ones that have kind of like a little hydraulic lift mechanism to it. Some are battery powered. So it varies on what type of actual device the person is purchasing. But Uplift products they're a great tool. Here's another low-tech device. What is this? It's a round circle disc or something like that. Is it a soft frisbee, a flat pillow, a swivel seat, or, let's go with D, another cat chew toy? And the response is, it's a swivel seat for cars and chairs. This is something that, as we're aging, we do see that people have a difficult time getting in and out of their chair. So when this particular disc is put into, for example, on the car seat, it helps somebody to turn a little bit easier on their seats. And they do have them in different quote-unquote models. There are ones that are appropriate for individuals who are 150 pounds or lighter, and then there are ones who are for individuals who are over 150 pounds. So it just helps them with doing that twisting motion in their car. They're pretty inexpensive. We're talking under $30 typically. Now, I know that you know much of this information already, but just as a refresher, who are those older Pennsylvanians that we're working with? We've noticed one of the highest increases in the 60 to 74 age group in the South Central, Southeast, and Northeast Pennsylvania region. The highest increase in the 85 and older age group are the counties that are near Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, Pike, Monroe, Monterey, Potter counties. So we're seeing a lot of these older Pennsylvanians, really these bursts of age groups. Many of them experience the normal effects of aging. So it's not just getting older that we're thinking about. We need to think about, is there something that can help, some technology, some gadgets that can help someone who goes through with the normal effects of aging. And that could be hearing. The normal effect of hearing where their communication is impacted, and it can vary from place to place. You may notice that a lot of your consumers who are aging may not communicate as much during family gatherings because maybe the sounds are just too overwhelming, or the conversations are just so muddled that they can't understand what's going on. It could be very different in the community environment, out in the stores or out at a religious gathering. They vary from place to place. Another normal effect of aging is the vision, where it impacts independence, hobbies, mobility. I mentioned earlier about the individuals who come in and say that they, as they're getting older, they're seeing that they're having a real difficult time with reading the newspaper, a common hobby. They're really having a problem when they're seeing they can't walk out in the community after a certain time because it's too dark out. Another normal effect of aging is that balance, sensitivity to temperature and pain. Their endurance may change. Intellectual functioning can also change with aging. Memory, motivation to try new things really does vary, so we don't want to assume that every time we introduce a new gadget or a new technology that somebody's going to pick up interest in it right away, because that doesn't always happen. In fact, it rarely happens. I've had so many consumers come into our office and will come back a couple weeks later and say, you know what, I think I'm ready now to try that device that you showed me a couple weeks ago. Or they may come back months from now and say, I'm ready to make that purchase. Can you tell me what company I might be able to purchase something from? Another thing to consider are the social supports. This is very different when we're looking at what type of support systems are out there to help with the technology, rural versus alternative living sites, and the ability to visit others. Overall, there are many important activities for older adults, whether it be in the household, community, daily living. And we want to keep in mind constantly what functions are challenging for that individual. Is there a tool that can help do the activity better? There might be a tool to do it safer, independently, and or more efficiently. And there are reports that show that 40% of caregivers will report back that after obtaining an assistive device to make things easier to care for the person they help, their lives become better too. So here are some obvious, some not so obvious, and the downright creative uses of assistive technology that we've used with many seniors and people just in general as they're aging. Things that we want to encourage people to ask, and again, this is something that you as the professional, you may not have all of the answers at your fingertips. However, it's really important for you at least to start the conversation with your client and know where your resources are. So when we're thinking about what type of device is needed, we want to consider the following things. Number one, we want to consider the person. We want to consider the environment, and we want to consider, most of all, the task. An example would be someone who is aging. I don't want to automatically assume that the person has been using technology their entire life, or that they are very tech savvy. Many people are not tech savvy no matter what age. So we're looking at the individual. What are their abilities? What activity does that person want to do? What skills are actually needed to do the activity? What skill does the person already have to do that activity? What supports exist to help learn a new way? And where is this activity done and under what conditions? So you may have a senior who wants to be more active on the road. They want to be a little bit more mobile. They like working on their computer, but the computer is so big at home. They're having problems seeing the screen. There are some solutions that we could look at, like screen magnifiers. They want to access things differently. But again, the key is they want to be more on the road. They want to take their computer with them. So although we're looking at magnification software, we may also be looking at laptop solutions or maybe even tablet solutions. It's fortunate in that scenario that the person is a little tech savvy, but if we're talking about an individual who wants to read more and they're not computer savvy, screen magnification probably wouldn't be, or screen reading probably wouldn't be the best solution. So we want to look at the person, what environment are they using that technology, and what task overall do they want to accomplish. We also want to take a look at the activities. What functions does the individual need? We need to know what AT devices and services are already out there in the community or potentially could be available, and the older adults and their general characteristics. So here's some very specific devices that we'll be looking at. Adapted telephones. On the left-hand side, this is one of our most popular types of devices, types of adapted telephones that are available for individuals who have some type of hearing loss. So as we age, we start to lose our hearing a little bit. A capped telephone or a captioned telephone looks very similar to a standard telephone. What this captioned telephone will do is it actually will caption. It will give me a transcript of the conversation of the person who is speaking to me. So if you look again on the picture on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see a standard telephone with the buttons and the handheld receiver, and then there's a screen on it. And that screen actually has some words. Those words are the captioned or the transcript conversation of the person I was speaking with. It's not going to write down or caption my words because I know what I'm saying. But I may not be able to hear the person on the other line, so by reviewing or reading along a transcript of the conversation, it happens pretty instant, where I can read along with the conversation and respond appropriately. So that's a capped telephone, what you see there. There are other types of phones that are also captioned. We have caption call phones, and there are many different makes and brands, but caption telephone is one of the most popular ones that we receive requests for through the TDDP program. The image on the upper right-hand side is a large button phone with a visual signaler. And that large button phone is frequently used by an individual who has a vision loss. They may not be able to see the smaller buttons that typically we see on something that we pick up at, say, Radio Shack or Best Buy. Large buttons. There's also 3 speed dial buttons at the very top that you can program for first aid, fire, and an emergency contact. It's also amplified, so this person is able to, if they have a hearing loss, they can amplify the voice louder on it. And there's also a visual signaler. So for someone who may not be able to hear as well, they may be able to see that the phone is blinking, and that means that the phone is ringing. So this is a phone that can help someone with a hearing loss as well as a vision loss. The large button phone that you see there also has, for those individuals who know Braille, they do have Braille dots on them. The phone at the bottom, there's actually 2 pictures. It's called a Dora phone, and it's a photo phone. If you look on the right-hand side of the phone, there are 4 pictures. It's a large button phone where you can put pictures in of people that you want to call. So for someone with Alzheimer's or dementia or some other type of intellectual cognitive disability, they may just be able to dial someone using speed dial picture-wise. They don't need to rely on their memory to dial the numeric phone number. Although you see 2 pictures of this picture phone, there is one image where you can see the keypad. The other image, the keypad is missing. It's the same exact phone. On this phone, there is a locking keyboard. There's a little white cover that can slide down over the numeric keypad, and that can be very helpful for someone with dementia or someone with an intellectual or cognitive disability who tends to just dial numbers, and they may not be the appropriate numbers. So that keyboard will flip down over the numeric keypad so that all the person can dial with is using the pictures. It's a great telephone. We have several different devices that can help with listening. We put these in the category of assistive listening. On the bottom, we have what's called the TV listening device, or TV ears. And you know that you all know somebody who can fit into this category where their TV is up so loud, and you may be, exaggeration, you may be 3 houses away or 3 rooms away, and you can still tell what station or what movie is on the TV. So for someone with a hearing loss, they don't need to share all of that information, all of that sound with the entire household. TV ears is actually an infrared headset that the person can wear, and they can adjust the sound to their own needs. So what's the great thing about these TV ears is that two or more people can actually be watching television, and the sound can be adjusted as normal on the TV so that everybody is comfortable listening. But the person with a hearing loss may actually be using the TV ears, and they can turn the volume up as loud as they need it so that not everybody is blasted away by the sound of the TV. So that's a great tool, and we've had a lot of senior centers purchase them. A lot of our high-rise apartments started looking into it and offering it for people that were in their homes. Another device is called the Pocket Talker. This is a more portable amplification device. The Pocket Talker is battery-powered. It runs on AA batteries, I believe, and it's very much like the older style Walkman, where if I want to hold a conversation with someone, I can literally point a microphone, which is built right into the device, point a microphone at the person I'm speaking to, and I can hear the amplified conversation. This is not the best tool to actually use in a large gathering. So someone who may be attending a conference or a workshop, it amplifies all the sounds around. So you may be getting too many amplified sounds and not just the conversation that you want to listen to. However, if you're going to the doctor's office and a person is having a difficult time because they don't have hearing aids, but they do need some assistance with hearing, this may be an appropriate solution to take with them because it can amplify the conversation that the doctor is holding with that person. Now, this is very different. The Pocket Talker is very different than the personal FM system, which you see on the upper right-hand side. A personal FM system is where the conversation, I can actually use this in a large gathering because what happens is I carry one of the devices and the person who is speaking. So, for example, if I'm in church or if I'm at temple, I could have the rabbi actually wear the microphone, and I will only hear the amplified microphone in my device that I'm personally holding, the receiver component of it. I won't hear everyone else coughing. I won't hear everyone else singing. I won't hear the other chatter. I'm only going to hear the conversation of the person who is wearing the microphone. So that's a personal FM system. They do have ones that are compatible with hearing aids. These are more pricey than the standard Pocket Talker. The Pocket Talker typically goes for about anywhere from $45 to $70. Personal FM systems will start in the $100 range. So I'd like to give you a scenario because this is something that we have had experience with, and it's a medication reminder. So Michael's a 79-year-old gentleman who lives on his own. He is still employed part-time as an auto mechanic technician. He was and he still is, a very tech-savvy individual, but he was having a problem with remembering to take his daily medication and his supplements. He wanted to do it all on his own, but there were times that he was missing his medication. So we actually offered him a device trial and exploration. That's part of the service that we provide to Pennsylvania residents. So we showed him the Tab Time vibrating pill timer reminder, and basically this is like a pager, portable. He could carry it around pretty easy. Because I said that he was tech savvy, he has an iPhone. We also looked at some medication tracker apps, some free, some that are paid, and they didn't quite really work for him. He did try them on his own for at least a week minimum. That's what we asked him to do, and it just didn't work for him. We looked at the second generation vibrating pill timer because, again, that was more portable, something he could keep in his pocket. We also looked at a product called the Med Center Deluxe System with a reminder. Now, that is a pretty big device, actually. He didn't like it because it was so big. It's almost like a small encyclopedia. What we actually wound up working with him on, and this is a little bit more on the pricey side. We're talking about $200 for the low-tech model, up to, this is $700, but it's the ePill MedSmart Plus monitored automatic pill dispenser. What this device will do is it automatically dispenses his medication as he needs it. He doesn't carry it around. He only takes the medication when he's at home. But what he really liked about this is there's no monthly fee, and if he, for some reason, forgot to take his medication before he left, he actually can get a reminder that will go to his cell phone through text messaging, remind him that he missed his medication, and he can contact somebody to help get it while he's at work and bring it to him. If he does not take his medication at all, there's a notification that can go to the caregiver, letting them know that the person has not taken any medication. And this is really great. The reason that you would know that the medication was taken is because there's a sensor that is activated once the medication is not only dispensed, but it also has to be removed from the area that it's dispensed in. So this was a great tool. It's a little bit more on the pricey side, but we did find out that the lower tech and the less expensive solutions didn't really work out for him. More assistive technology or more gadgets, we see communication tools. And there are different levels of communication tools. We have some very, very sophisticated speech-generating devices. And as we start to age, not everybody is as welcoming of using those devices. So we do try to incorporate a lot of low-tech solutions. The communication tools, we can do a simple picture album, which you can go to any store and pick up a little photo album and put in some picture symbols that someone may be able to point to when they're talking about a conversation that you may not know what they're really talking about. For the longest time, Radio Shack had these devices, but now I'm seeing them in Target, talking photo albums. So someone can put in a photo and record a brief message, as well as the talking picture frames. They make great communication tools. Of course, what would a presentation be without hearing at least this one time? The iPad. The iPad can be very easy to use for communication, as well as many other tools for breaking down barriers. It provides immediate feedback when it's touched. It's very engaging. There are many, many apps that are specifically designed for older adults. It can be very simple to use, but on the other hand, it could be very overwhelming to the individual. So you do need to consider what the individual's needs are, what their abilities, and some strategies, and it could require some training on how to use the iPad. Lighting and vision is another, we are constantly getting requests for more information on any type of lighting with magnification to help people in the community. There are many different styles, floor lamps with magnifiers attached. One thing that we do encourage people to, when we talk about magnifiers and lighting, the lamps are not meant to light up an entire room. It's really meant for task lighting. So these are pretty much used for, they could be used for hobbies, coin collecting. Someone may need assistance with looking at the coins or reading a letter, or even reading parts of the newspaper, sewing. That's what these are really designed to do. They're for close task activities. They're not meant to light up a room and show you everything. Magnify the desktop levels of it. So we do have on our Temple, Maine campus location, we do have a specialist who is a certified low vision therapist, and if you have questions about low vision and magnification, she's a wonderful resource that we can definitely share with you. Video magnifiers are another tool. You may have seen a lot of these devices often referred to as CCTVs or screen magnifiers, different sizes, different styles. On the left, we have handheld magnifiers. Handheld magnifiers can be wonderful tools to use out in the community. We've had several individuals borrow our handheld magnifiers and explore the food store. Read what are the ingredients on the label. So these are a little bit different than a standard dollar store handheld magnifier. A video magnifier, you can actually increase the magnification as you go along just by pressing one button. So a standard magnifier is typically one strength, and that's all you get. Depending on the brand of the handheld magnifier, you may have anywhere from 4 to 6 different levels of magnification. Video magnifiers also provide the opportunity for changing the contrast. So depending on the person's visual ability, they may need to change the contrast of the image so that it's only black and white, or white on black, or a black background with a yellow font, or they may want to see the image in color. There are many different ways to view the magnification, again, depending on personal preference and depending on the person's visual acuity. So I mentioned about the handheld magnifier. For someone who is not concerned or isn't interested in carrying a portable device, we do have several full-screen magnifiers. They're desktop units. So as you can see in the image on the right-hand side, we do have a woman who is completing the crossword puzzle. These are better devices for viewing magazines or full-page books, newspapers, because there's more real estate to work with. You have a bigger camera. The handheld ones are great too, but sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to read an entire magazine with that handheld handheld magnifier. You want to kind of work in a smaller landscape, for lack of a better word, when you're using the handheld version. So those are the two types of video magnifiers that can benefit someone who may be experiencing some vision loss. We also look at some options for home modifications. I mentioned that assistive technology does go into the home, and we look at possibly changing some of their environment. So there are side entry bathtubs, which have been more popular in the past few years. Lowered cabinets for those who have seated access. Wheelchair lifts at the door of a home, as well as a seated stair glide that can help someone get from the ground level to the next level of their home. We provide lots of examples of devices that can be used for daily assistance, especially throughout the home. Little things that can just make someone's life not only easier, but more manageable and more functional. So as we age, we develop some arthritis or don't have the strength that we need to open up jars, bottles. There are adapted jar openers with handles. There are also adapted key holders. The image on the right-hand side that has a blue background, those are actually, they're adaptations for keys, because sometimes a key can be really difficult to turn in a lock. So when we give it a little bit of a handle, it makes it a whole lot easier to turn that key to gain access into the home. Obviously, you've heard of so many different types of reachers. We have an inventory of various reachers, not only that have a trigger grip, we have some that have a reverse trigger grip so that when you let go of the handle, the reacher, the grabber part actually opens up. There's so many different styles. Rocking knives are also very popular to help in the kitchen. Rocking knives help out by going back and forth. You can cut a little bit easier, cut meat as opposed to going back and forth. More kitchen activities. We do have OXO. OXO brand is very popular. You see it quite frequently in Bed Bath and Beyond. The OXO products have built-up hand grips. We've got our can openers. We've got built-up grips on measuring cups, and we have built-up grips on the dishwashing utensils appliances. So here's another scenario that we experienced for cooking. So we were working with Sarah, who is a 67-year-old female, and she's also diagnosed with cerebral palsy. She still volunteers as a teacher's aide at the community school, and she does ambulate with the use of a walker. The barrier that she came to us with, she is experiencing a difficult time with independently cooking meals for herself. So we talked about different trials and explored different options. Of course, we went with the no-tech solutions, and that was ordering out, and she wasn't too fond of that. Pizza, Chinese food, coffee, ordering out wasn't as on her top 10 list of things to do. Then we looked at some low-tech solutions. We looked at crock-pot cooking, because crock-pot cooking could be very simple. She wouldn't have to worry about taking out hot food items from a stove, from a gas stove. This actually worked out quite well for her for quite some time, but then she wanted to try something new. We did talk about the microwave cooking, but she didn't like the frozen dinners as much. Then we moved along to mid and high-tech solutions, and we talked about induction cooktops, and that would mean that a whole new stove would need to be put into her home. Induction cooktops are great. They're great because she could actually lean a little bit on that stove, and induction cooktop, that cooktop's not going to get hot. It's only the contents in the pot that are actually getting hot. So the bad part of that was that she would need to remove her stove, and it's also very expensive. Induction cooktops are very, very expensive. So what we did was we found for under $100, still a little bit pricey, but she was able to manage it, is a portable induction cooktop. And she loved it because she liked the idea of the induction cooktop, just couldn't afford thousands of dollars for this cooktop. Under $100, she has a portable unit that she obtained through Target.com, and she now can cook while in a seated position and on her counter. And she loves this. This was something that was mainstream. There's no specialty store for induction cooktops or portable ones, no specialty store for people with disabilities or seniors. It was something mainstream, but it's serving her needs as a form of assistive technology. There are so many solutions. I mentioned about how many different categories we could put assistive technology in. People want to have some leisure skills. So we have, for those who have some difficult time and enjoy gardening, we do have adapted tools. So we have pistol grip gardening tools, and there are cups that can help actually hold different tools while you're out in the garden. There's also adapted tools for fishing. This on the upper left-hand side, we have what's called the strong arm fishing rod holder, and that actually is it's a fishing rod holder that is strapped to the person's arm and their wheelchair, kind of allows them additional support while they're holding that fishing rod. For someone who may be in a wheelchair, you can make these up on your own, but they do sell fishing pole mounts for wheelchairs. Of course, what would this presentation be without talking about different play card holders? Now, if you know someone who is handy or who is much into crafts, you can actually make some of these, but they do sell them for about $15. Where these are upper left-hand side, we have a card holder that people can stack into. This is a board that has ledges, as well as the card holder on the right-hand top side, which is also a board with a rounded groove that you can fit the cards in. Those are primarily used for someone who really can't hold the cards for any length of time. So they can actually, the person can put this holder on a table and view their cards while not even holding the cards. We have disc card holders on the bottom left-hand side, and so the person would not have to hold each and every card. They actually put each card, put the cards into the disc, and then just hold the disc. So that makes things a little bit easier for them to access their playing style. I mentioned if you know of someone who's handy, you can make those disc holders very easily by taking some old CDs, maybe some software CDs or some music CDs, and if you glue two discs together, they serve the same purpose as the ones on the left. So it's another disc holder for cards. Real simple solutions. It does not need to be complicated. I do want to make sure that I provide you with some resources for learning about assistive technology devices. Where can you get these resources? Who can help provide you with some of the devices? So I mentioned already that our program, PIAT, we do provide the device demonstrations. We also have the short-term loan program, Try Before You Buy. That service is available for not only consumers, but their family and caregivers as well. And you as service providers can also request information. So the direct link to our program is disabilities.temple.edu/PIAT, P-I-A-T. So we are a resource that is available throughout the entire Commonwealth. Everybody likes to get catalogs, and we've noticed especially the seniors that are coming in and meeting with us, they want to walk out with a catalog. You can actually request the catalog from these companies. They do have 800 numbers, but if you can kind of gear them towards their website and ask them for a catalog, you can get on their mailing list. Dynamic Living Aids is a great company, as well as Maxi Aids, Independent Living Aids, and Active Forever. These are all companies that specialize in providing technology solutions for individuals with disabilities as well as individuals who are aging. So they are considered our specialty, just a handful of our specialty ones. But if you don't want to go the specialty route, you can look at those catalogs. I found them in the airports. I get them through my junk mail sometimes. Lillian Vernon, Harriet Carter, Sky Mall, Dr. Leonard's. These are all general mainstream companies that they don't specialize particularly in assistive technology, but a lot of their gadgets would be considered assistive technology. So they're a great mainstream resource. I mentioned about the TDDP program. You may want to make sure that you check that out for your clients, because many of your clients may in fact qualify for a free adapted telephone. They're for individuals who have a hearing loss, vision loss, memory challenges, or a lack of ability to dial. It is only at this time for landline telephones. So those are the corded phones. They are not, at this time, the program does not provide adapted cell phones, and we are hoping that that will change. But for more information, you can definitely call us at 1-800-204-7428, and we can send you brochures as well as application forms. I mentioned already the Reused and Exchange Equipment Program, or REAP, used, sometimes new, devices that are available for reuse, and they're often free, but sometimes they may be for sale at a reduced price. And there's more information that you can check out on our website. Although not a direct program of ours, Pennsylvania's Assistive Technology Foundation, or PATF, is an agency that provides low-interest loans at a reduced interest rate, specifically for the purchase of assistive technology devices as well as services. So that may be for the training, the setup, the implementation. The priority of this agency is to make obtaining AT affordable, and devices that are under $1,000 may qualify for an interest-free loan. Other devices that are over $1,000 would be at, I believe right now they're at a 3.25 interest rate. And their website is PATF, as in Frank.us. Another agency that you may want to consider contacting is the Pennsylvania Bureau of Blindness and Visual Services, or BBVS. They do have a program for specialized services with adults that can assist with AT for adults who want to be independent in their home and communities. Each case is reviewed on a case-by-case situation, so not all clients will be served. There is a financial eligibility requirement, and the individual must be visually eligible. So for a list of the local offices, you can check out the link on this page. I do have some time that if you have some questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. I thank you so much for your attention, and I hope that you find that this information was helpful to you.
Thank you, Jamie. No questions came in.